Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Transport Briefing for Wednesday, May 29th. Over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we've had systems continue to move across the northern areas of the Great Basin and drop southeast across Utah. So that is where much of the precipitation has remained over the last week and even over the last 2 weeks. However, this precipitation is still below normal, so we're still not seeing large amounts of precipitation, just some pockets of near normal across Utah. Some drier spots over the last several weeks have continued to be southern and central Nevada, into western Nevada and the Sierra. Looking at our last 72 hours or 24 hours, we are seeing lightning over the last 24 hours across the north as these systems continue to move by to the north, bringing some precipitation, and then the snow depth is indicated on the right. And you can see from the snowpack for the time of year, we are getting obviously very late in the season. Snow continues to melt regardless, but we are still seeing above normal snowpack for the time of year for parts of Nevada and Utah, and still below normal snowpack up north in Idaho. Our satellite loop from this morning shows a trough of low pressure moving into the Pacific Northwest, and this will continue tracking eastward across the northern Great Basin and generate showers and thunderstorms once again for Idaho, possibly far northern Nevada, northern Utah into Wyoming. Looking at the weather pattern for later today, you can see that trough swings further east, so we will continue with those showers in the north and drier conditions down south. Otherwise, good dispersion region-wide due to the time of year and with these systems continuing to move through. Winds out ahead of this system will be breezy anywhere from southern Idaho eastward across Wyoming and down into Utah, with most gusts between about 30 and 40 miles per hour. We will see much lighter winds over western and southern Nevada, but high mixing heights region-wide. Temperatures today will continue to rise. We will generally be in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees in the valleys over much of Nevada and Utah, which is really near normal or just above normal for the time of year. In the upper 90s in the far south, and highs only in the 50s and 60s up across Idaho. Relative humidity will remain elevated in the north as this trough moves across the north, bringing those showers and thunderstorms, and much drier in the far south. As we move into Thursday, this trough swings well to the east into the northern plains with some westerly flow across the Great Basin and drier conditions. We'll still see good dispersion region-wide as winds generally remain light to moderate. And you can see those winds generally light with the exception of southern Idaho, Wyoming, and the northern Utah mountains, which are more in the moderate range with gusts around 20 to 30 miles per hour. Otherwise, high mixing heights region-wide. Temperatures will warm a few degrees tomorrow as that system exits, but still generally just above normal. Relative humidity will dry out, but still remain above 20% up north in Idaho, Wyoming, and northern Utah. As we move into Friday, we do have a little bit of moisture moving across the region with yet another trough approaching the west coast, but still generally drier for much of the area. Otherwise, good dispersion. We will see some decreasing areas of wind flow over central areas of the Great Basin, so you could see some poor dispersion or some weak inversion set up. However, this will be generally short-lived. Again, you can see those really light winds over central areas of the Great Basin with those lower dispersions and generally lower mixing heights just in that general area. Otherwise, higher mixing heights to the south and west. Looking at our temperature and relative humidity for Friday. Temperatures on Friday will also continue to climb across the region in the absence of low pressure. So we will see highs, especially across Nevada, in the low to mid 80s or even upper 80s in some valley locations and over 100 degrees in the far south. A little bit cooler over the eastern side of the Great Basin, but highs still in the 60s and 70s. Relative humidity will also decrease with many areas of single digits across Nevada and Utah, except in the higher elevations, which will remain above 15 to 20%. The 3-day amount of precipitation with these systems moving by to the north, much of the precipitation will be across Idaho and Wyoming, but also a spattering further south into Utah and eastern Nevada. As we move into this weekend, the next trough moves across the north again, bringing another round of some moisture to Idaho and Wyoming for some showers and thunderstorms, and still drier and breezy conditions down south. And then on Sunday, similar conditions with that moisture tracking in and then moving across again on Monday. So we will continue with some moisture moving across northern areas. This will also allow green up to continue in the far north with our fuels and also minimize the amount of snowmelt. And then on Tuesday, this system exits to the east and we will see more of a ridge of high pressure building early to the mid portion of the week. Looking at our precipitation from Saturday through Monday, you can see generally just some light showers in the far north And then as we go into the Monday time period with that next system moving through, we will see a little bit heavier shower activity and thunderstorms up in the central Idaho mountains. Otherwise, drier conditions region-wide to the south. And then the 7-day total precip taking into account what's occurring today and tomorrow and then going through the early part of next week. We will see some changes heading into later next week. A much stronger ridge of high pressure will really dominate the west and build from mid to late week into next weekend for some very hot temperatures, definitely our hottest temperatures of the season, where we definitely could see many valley locations in the mid 90s or even higher and above 105 to 110 in the far south. So very hot temperatures on tap going into the middle of June. There could be some moisture that starts to approach the region with some thunderstorms underneath this ridge of high pressure, but also some additional moisture possibly going towards the middle of the month. We'll continue to watch that. Right now it's pretty uncertain, but it does look like once this ridge sets in several days later, we will see some increasing moisture with thunderstorms as low pressure returns. So that will be something we'll be monitoring after hot temperatures. We will have a return of lightning in many areas that haven't seen much this season. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Friday for the latest updates.